Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I would like to welcome you to the Guitar Souls podcast. We are back again, episode 27. Mike, how's it going?
Something like that. Yeah, pretty good, man. I've got a bit of the cold, so I apologise in advance if I sound quite nasal or I'm sniffing or coughing or anything. Nothing that a shitload of decongestants and caffeine won't help, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's how I've been surviving the last couple of days. So, how about you? How are you, man?
Well, I had the illness last time we podcasted, and I always find it very odd that like illnesses like that tend to be a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
Because all of the podcasts I listen to from all over the world, one of the members is like, oh, I've got that thing that's going around. Why do these things go around?
You know internet flu?
Yeah, it's that. And it's because people don't vaccinate.
That's a very true thing, you know what I mean?
Vaccinate your children, people.
Yes, or you won't have children.
You know
That's
what?
as simple as that.
I have a theory, though. This is going super off topic right away, right?
Brilliant.
Super off topic right away. I think that vaccinating your children causes anti-vaxxers to exist. Because think about it. If nobody vaccinated their children, then most of them would die, and they wouldn't grow up to be anti-vaxxers.
That's true. And
So
you say most, but you probably mean as all.
Yeah,
eventually.
Yeah. So there you go. There's my theory. Vaccinations cause anti-vaxxers to exist. If those anti-vaxxers had just not been vaccinated when they were kids and no longer were with us, we wouldn't suffer this problem.
It's a bit too much of a paradox, though.
I know. Yeah.
So vaccinate your children.
Vaccinate your children, and if they become an anti-vaxxer, put them down.
Unvaccinate them. You brought them into the world. You can take them back out. Fuck those people.
Cool. So we got a few things to talk about today. Of course, NAMM. NAMM is a big thing. We will talk about NAMM.
It certainly is.
And what else are we talking about? PledgeMusic. We'll have a bit of a rant about crowdfunding, which is a shame, really, because I'm a fan of crowdfunding, but not when people are taking advantage.
Yeah, the idea isn't the problem. The platforms and those people involved with the platforms who aren't quite being honest definitely is the problem.
Yeah. We have some Total Guitar magazines to look at. You know what? People have enjoyed these.
Seems like it, yeah. We got a couple of messages. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was streaming last night. Someone was like, I'm really enjoying the Total Guitar sections. How many of those magazines have you actually bought? Because they wanted to know just how long we were going to be able to run this for. But worst case scenario, I mean, as you know, I've got hundreds of Guitar Techniques magazines, but they're not quite as gossipy as these. But who knows? Maybe we could dig out like old Guitar World magazines or,
This
like
is a
80s.
guitarist like Take a Break magazine.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah. Or the National Enquirer, as you're going to see when we get to this one.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of those to look at. But you know what else we have? Let's do these at the beginning because these will draw people in. So some of you may have seen on our Facebook feed, we put up a Misheard lyrics request. We want to get a collection of Misheard lyrics. And we're not planning on doing one big feature on these. Just every now and again, we'll just bring in a Misheard lyric, and it might be a great one that we read on the thread. So please do, guys, if you have anything great, let us know. But Mike has a Misheard lyric, and he's not told me what it is.
Nope.
I also have one. I've not told him what it is. And so what have you got for me? Misheard lyrics.
Well, I've got two. There's one that's a common misconception. There's one that's a very funny story. So the one that's the common misconception is money for nothing. Everybody thinks it's chicks for free when it's checks for free. All of you who say chicks for free are wrong. Secondly, the funny story is a good friend of mine, Nicky Callahan, was telling me about his dad was listening to Rage Against the Machine in the house, right? It's quite topical considering we've been speaking about Tom Morello quite a bit. I think he did a drink and Nicky was like, I'm surprised that you're listening to this, Dad. It doesn't seem like the kind of music you're into. And his dad's like, no, it's fucking great. I'm loving it. It's really good. So Killing the Nail's playing and it gets to the chorus and he goes, chilling in a gay bar. I mean, he genuinely thought the lyrics were chilling in a gay bar.
Killing the name of and thought chilling in a gay bar.
I shit you not. Nicky told me this and I nearly wet myself. So thank you, Nicky, and Nicky's dad.
Okay, cool.
Tell me yours.
I'll give you one. So actually the concept of misheard lyrics, that wasn't the intention. You know the insult that gets thrown around on the internet, oh, you're a grammar Nazi, you're a grammar Nazi. I don't like being called a Nazi, but when it comes to being called a grammar Nazi, I will hold my hands up and go, you know what, I do, where possible, try and preserve the written language. But of course, the problem between written language and spoken language is it's easy to not be able to understand where punctuation is in spoken language. So actually, this birthed out of me, there are quite a few examples where I'll listen to a song and the way that the phrases in the lyrics have been put together it's confusing as to what the actual meaning is.
Yes.
Or it's not, but it's not confusing, but the way it is means that you could interpret it in a different way, which isn't as intended.
I get you.
So I was after more examples like that. And the first one that popped into my head, because I've been listening to, while I was in the gym earlier in the week, I was listening to The Offspring's Americana.
Mm-hmm.
After reading, the magazines that we've been looking at. So
It's a classic album as well, let's be honest.
It is a classic album, but the worst song on the album is...
You tell me.
Okay, Why Don't You Get a Job?
I was thinking that,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I wonder if he's got something else in mind. Okay, right, yep.
Anytime the Offspring do something that's kind of not like a punk rock song, like
Yeah.
like a less cheesy big band, it's a comedy song.
Is.
Fair enough.
It's not as bad as When You're in Prison, but that's not on the same album. So we'll move on.
And also, I've always assumed this. I've never actually checked this, but Dexter doesn't sing When You're in Prison, does he? That can't be Dexter singing that.
It might be, mate, doing a silly voice. If anyone can confirm or deny it, please let us know. It'd be great to know.
I'd always made the assumption.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in Why Don't You Get a Job, the lyric is, my friend's got a girlfriend and he hates that bitch, right? He tells me every day, right? Then he goes on to quote, he says, man, I've really got to lose my chick in the worst kind of way. That's the part. He says, man, I've really got to lose my chick in the worst kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
That could be one of two things, and I don't know which it is.
Right.
Is his friend saying, man, I've really got to lose my chick? And he's saying it in the worst possible kind of way. Or is he saying, man, I've really got to lose my chick in the worst kind of way?
Oh, okay. So,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Is he thinking about like feeding his girlfriend into a meat grinder, or...
that's not the worst kind of way.
Well, what is the worst kind of way?
I don't know. I guess it's subjective. I would say probably giant trebuchet into the sun. Because you get to watch her fly in and glisten and then burst like a wee supernova right on the sun's face. Although you don't stare at the sun because that would burn your eyes out.
Yeah, as you're staring at the sun. We're going straight into Offspring again.
We're staring at the sun. You're right, sorry. I'll continue.
So, that bugs me. That's always, every time I hear that song, I can't remember any lyrics for the rest of the song, because as soon as that happens, I sit and think to myself, I mean, surely he's talking like he's saying it in the worst kind of way. That makes sense. But what if he's actually saying that this guy says he needs to lose his girlfriend in the worst kind of way?
Yeah.
Feeding her to piranhas, or...
Maybe he's put a contract on her like Tim Lambesis did for his wife.
Ooh, heavy. So,
and that is definitely the worst way, the worst way, I think.
yeah. So
Having your
that's
wife
not really a
assassinated.
misheard lyric. I guess it's more like a misunderstood or a confused lyric. So
Let's not argue semantics.
I'm going to have you bring in misheard lyrics, but where possible, I'm going to bring in misunderstood lyrics.
That sounds good fun.
Yeah.
Any suggestions, please?
Yeah,
Comment
do let us
away.
know.
We had good fun reading through those.
Yeah.
And as Levi said, we're hoping to bring them in. Just drop them in, basically, a couple of wee tidbits per episode.
Yeah. So that's fun. Let's do Pledge Music.
Let's do it.
So we're big crowdfunding fans.
Yes.
Well, I say that. Like, have you crowdfunded anything in your life, Mike?
I've never done any crowdfunding stuff. Neither have I put up a post asking for crowdfunding with any sort of actual pledge or campaign. I haven't actually put forward for any either, because the majority of ones that I did want to, I always had this kind of niggling feel in the back of my head, and it was always like tech products or stuff like that. And you know that way you're just like, this is too good to be true.
Yeah.
I don't see this happening. Maybe when it launches, I'll pay full price if it's that good. And then they never happen. And after the first 2 or 3, I'm just like, I'm not paying money for something I won't get anything back for to line someone's pocket, because I'm a horrendous tight bastard when it comes to money.
I heard a rumour that Levi's quite tight as well.
I heard that too.
Won't even turn his heating on.
No comment.
Okay, so I made the assumption that we're both fans of crowdfunding, but
Yes. It's a fair assumption.
But I mean, evidently you like the concept, but never to the point where you've actually funded things.
No, I haven't. Being honest, I haven't. And to be fair, like the last time I looked at it was quite a few years ago, and since then it's really just been like, no, actually that's wrong. I paid £50 for the Heart Machines album, but it disappeared.
I see what you did there. We should briefly talk about that, shouldn't we?
Oh, that's
For anyone that's not gone and watched K-Mac, Mike's brother's video,
why haven't you? That's the first question.
which is, I can't remember the name of the song, but the comment section
Hava
did,
Rabba, I think it's called.
well, the
which
comment
is
section did tell me that it means
free money.
in Estonian.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. I fully enjoy that video. Actually, the best thing about this is we can live react to it, can't we, Mike?
Well, we can, unless Kieran decides to copyright strike us.
Yeah. Good luck. I'm being asked that. I'm not entirely sure what volume you're referring to there, Mike.
The brio on your mixer. I was trying to be subtle there, guys.
I see what you mean. So yeah, if I then
Is that better?
that will cool. That will save us if we live react, which we're about to.
Yes. So I was just like, let's not blow the ears off ourselves or cause any problems.
Very clever, Mike. Very clever.
I don't know about clever. I would say observant.
Right. So yeah, we hadn't actually planned to do this, but
Fuck it, it's good content.
there's just moments in this that are absolutely glorious.
Vabaraha.
Let's bring this down.
So, for anyone who hasn't seen the original video, there's a playthrough by Al Moomin of, I think, the first single from this Heart Machine album / EP that's to come. And the background's him standing by like I don't know if it's like a throw or if it's a carpet that's on the wall or whatever, but that's basically the pattern of it in the background. And there's like a kind of fractal background, which Kieran's pretty much just decided to put in there. So obviously I'm the biggest fan of Kieran because I'm biased as fuck and I know how funny he is out of context as well as with YouTube stuff, but
this is legitimately one of the funnious things I've
speaks for
ever seen him
itself.
do. So I'm going to move us up here because he's got lyrics down here. We won't watch the whole thing.
Oh, we need to.
Well, we want people to actually go over and watch it themselves.
Yeah, true.
So give Kieran the views. Totally got that Heart Machine vibe though.
It's playing that full speed, no edits.
Your brother can just say so much with his eyes.
Oh, aye. I love his tone.
Yeah, it's really pro.
Yeah.
House fire. So this bit is the best.
Oh.
I've watched Zeitgeist 1,000 times.
No, the next line's the best.
And then the best line. I watch Joe Rogan every night.
It's just supreme. You know what annoys me the most about this? It's a fucking good song.
It is. Yeah, that's really annoying.
His writing is phenomenal.
And then the best part of the entire video is here, the guitar solo.
Yeah.
Because Al Moomin, everybody knows Al Moomin, can't play the way Al Moomin pretends that he can play.
Which is upsetting because his writing is good.
Yeah, oh, totally.
And I think, not to the same level, but I almost think the same way about that Charles Caswell, Buried Alive. I think in terms of writing, it's talented stuff, but this pretending this is what you're playing is just, come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
For the most part, we make the assumption various VSTs. Some people even posit the idea that it's Guitar Pro. So, yeah.
100%. You know what? You know what I'm scared of, right? There being a video of like the live audio of him playing something and people thinking it's a Shreds video.
Yeah.
Like it being the polar opposite. No, this is the actual fucking audio.
So Kieran did this.
Sorry.
He's an absolute genius. I absolutely love your brother.
It's well worth watching that full video for anyone who hasn't seen it. KMAC 2021, if you have not heard of him, which I would doubt very much, because he's when was it updated? What, like
he's more
5 days ago, and it's 116,000 views.
He's more popular than we are, so. And it's nice because Sumerian Records have commented on it, and obviously there's the whole point of this second Heart Machine album is trying to get out of their record deal, right? But then also Heart Machine themselves have commented on it, just saying that they're honoured, and it's like, you're fucking raging about the fact that not only is this more popular than your album will ever be, it's better, and you are the punchline. So Yeah, well done.
Yes.
Anyway, the reason we were talking about crowdfunding is because it turns out that PledgeMusic, I've used PledgeMusic. I've supported some people on PledgeMusic. I've Dave McPherson's first solo album.
Oh.
That was on PledgeMusic. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Like it seems like the platform started as something very good.
Yeah.
I believe it was a musician from the band Skinny Puppy that started it, or was it certainly a part of the development team when it first came about?
It seems that that's the case. Yep.
I believe that was.
I
don't know the
Skinny Puppy in the article there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nivek Ogre, a member of the band Skinny Puppy and a cult icon. So I mean that you can imagine it being something that would be deeply passionate for someone with a vested interest.
Yep.
To do it and do it right.
Obviously, I crowdfunded my first album, and I put a lot of time into looking at what my options were. And at the time, the big three options were Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and PledgeMusic. And I had assumed that I was going to go with PledgeMusic just purely because they've got music in the name. It seems more suited to that type of thing.
Yeah, it's a bit more niche.
But they also took the highest percentage from users. So I went with Indiegogo because they took the lowest percentage. And Kickstarter, I think Kickstarter's for ideas more so than
So
projects.
building a business venture rather than this is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah. So Indiegogo, but just to sort of summarise, essentially it seems that PledgeMusic have completely fucked over people, and despite the fact that they do make a lot of money for artists and artists do get money, it seems that their cash flow they fuck things up. They're supposed to keep the artists' money separate from the business money, but they've not. They've had it in one pool, and it goes against their terms of service in doing that. But they've done it anyway, and they've invested in things, and they've not said that we've lost the money, but it's very much a case of we don't have access to it right now. So bands are currently experiencing late payments. They're not getting money. And what was the band in question that
I don't remember, but they had quite a lot of money. It was like $100,000, and that they're one of Ogre, OHGR is the name of the band, and they're still owed nearly $100,000.
No. Ogre is Nivek Ogre.
No, OHGR.
Band, OHGR.
Which is I can understand the misunderstanding. We're reading an article just now from Billboard.com regarding this, and this is where we've got quite a lot of information.
So it just seems that they're not doing a runner with the money. They're not trying to run off, but they are saying, look, we don't have it to give to you right now.
But at the same time, they're not only breaking their own terms of service, they're hiding behind their terms of service and ways to delay payment.
Yep.
Because part of their system is that you have to deliver on what you've promised people who pledged towards your campaign. For example, if you give $100, you get a copy of the album and then a t-shirt and then this and that. You have to have released one thing and met that target before they release more funds to do the next thing.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people who maybe have released the album digitally, there's one example in here, I believe, where they didn't get any money to release it physically and they waited 8-9 months, if I'm remembering it correctly, and they basically had to release it digitally alone with no sales, go on tour with no sales, no merchandise or whatever, and PledgeMusic are basically saying, well, you haven't released the album or physically, so we can't give you the rest of the money, which it baffles me.
Yeah, the system is in place to, in theory, protect people like you who have seen people get stung and are put off from supporting things on crowdfunded sites through fear of getting stung.
I think I'm also apprehensive at the idea of doing one because I don't want to be seen as someone who hasn't been completely transparent, intentionally or unintentionally, or to disappoint people.
No, but that's the secret. Be completely transparent with people. The reason my crowdfund did well and the reason my Patreon does well is I'm extremely transparent with everybody.
Oh no, I don't mean that as a question towards you or anyone else who's done it. I have this fear personally, not that I think I wouldn't be transparent, but that anything you do or say
could be misconstrued.
Exactly. And the last thing I want to do is to disappoint people, except Party Cannon fans, because that's what the music's there for.
Yeah, I mean you guys have got a label, so there's no real concern there, right? But if you were in an unsigned position, I think bands that don't do a crowdfund option are idiots, to be honest. It really annoys me, just because you've obviously got the option to give the band, we've talked about this before, to give the band £15 or whatever it is for the album, for the CD. But there are people that love Party Cannon. There are people that sent pizzas to you guys when you were recording. Right?
That's right. Thank you, Kev.
Yeah. So you've got rabid fans that not only pay a lot of money for merchandise, but also like there are fans that have bought collector's editions on the second-hand market for obscene prices as well, right?
I don't know as much about that, but I would think, given that there is quite a large underground collector scene for death metal stuff, there probably is, aye.
Yeah.
And there are limited edition versions of the album and the EP
Yeah.
that were done in like steel tin cases with
a
like
patch
exactly.
Yeah. So the thing is, like,
Excuse me.
I hate it when a band brings a CD out and it's like, cool. So what you're telling me is my only way to support you is to give you £15. I want to give you more. I want to do more. I want more things. I want to be involved in some way, shape, or form. I want to see some videos of you guys recording or whatever. Just like give me that feeling of being involved. That's a nice thing. Andy Wood has just dropped a new album, Junktown. Great. It's a great album.
I've seen you sharing that earlier, actually.
Yeah, it's a great album, and I've listened to it on Spotify a few times. But like, well, what do I do now? How do I give you more money, Andy? I can't. There's nothing I can do. And music is, I don't want to say it's throwaway, but like I'm enjoying Andy's new album. But there's going to be another new album next week that I'm going to be enjoying, and I'm not saying I'm going to forget about his album, but you know, while it's a high priority in my mind, like this is like it's Levi going into business mode, but monetize me. Yeah. I'm one of your fans. I like what you do.
You want to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, and you don't think that you're bleeding your fans for money. Like, don't charge more for something that you would normally charge £15 for, but give people all these additional bolt-on options that they can do. Even just down to a silly thing like a signed version of the album.
Yeah.
Just pledge in advance for a signed version of the album, or lyric sheet from the studio, or
some
whatever.
Sort of personal
just so
touch, exactly.
You feel like you've got something special out of it. And it's harder and harder to make money in music.
Agreed.
Album sales are down. People spend less money on music. So what you need to do is monetize more effectively those people that are still spending money on music. Because you know what? If someone is spending £15 on a CD when like you don't need to pay money for music now, you can just stream it all.
Better than that, you don't even need to pay for a subscription to Spotify. If you wanted to listen to something, you will find someone who's put it on YouTube.
Yeah. So when people are spending £15 on a CD, it's clear that there are people that are still willing to spend money that they don't need to spend.
Yes.
And they do it because they want to support artists. So
that's it.
Yeah, so I like crowdfunding. But the other reason we talk about this is we've both just watched the Fyre Festival documentary on Netflix.
You and I had spoken about Fyre Festival before as a potential topic.
Yep.
And it was great that documentary came out because you got to see so much fucking insanity behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And
give people a quick rundown of what Fyre Festival was and what happened.
Fyre Festival was a music festival marketed pretty much to the elite or the upper class is a fair way to put it, I think, really. Imagine like a music festival, but it's meant to be like a festival of a lifetime. It's basically, the way it was marketed was models, celebrities, massive musicians, basically anyone who's got money from America and is rich enough to be able to afford it, goes and parties on what was an island owned by Pablo Escobar for 3 or 4 days, and it just being wild, like the biggest act you've ever seen, luxury catering, yachts, super yachts, villas, fucking unlimited drink, just like the ultimate fantasy for anyone who aspires to get to that upper echelon in society. And as it more and more transpired, Jarrell was part of it.
Yeah, he
was one of the early adapters and contributors towards the actual idea of it. He had been involved with the other founder. I can't remember his name. Do you remember?
I mean, I literally watched the documentary yesterday and his name's already escaped me.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, because he's obviously a prolific con man.
Yeah.
He'd been involved in a previous kind of con, which was a credit card that was made of metal rather than plastic, and it had all these extra perks. And as it comes out, basically as you're watching it, basically the idea is that he's just basically forward funding things and taking money from one pot to another to make it look like things are really, really going well, and it just spirals downhill for there. And then the Fyre Festival logistically is a fucking nightmare. They take in unbelievable amounts of money,
28 million,
and all the things they encounter that are problems they don't deal with effectively. Like none of them. Or at all, that's true. Yeah. They even had one of the campaign managers, not to spoil it for anyone, or one of the main staff who'd been along with, like, on the actual ride from the start. They basically propositioned him saying, you need to go to customs and suck someone's dick to have all this money released, or sorry, all this water released for the festival, because at the moment we're owing them.
Was
it $50,000 or something in customs tax fees or something like that? That was, he was asked by the person, again, don't remember his name, who's responsible for this project, to literally go and give a blowjob to someone in the customs department of the US or whatever it was, basically to an official, a government official, as a bribe rather than payment, to have money released for a festival that people have put $28 million into. And it's just staggering to watch this guy continually somehow come up with more money for other investors, and the same investors investing yet again, and back and forth.
Yeah.
And then it gets to D-Day where they get to the festival, and it is fucking frightening.
I can't imagine what it would take to even go ahead with it. Like, you take the money and run. Like, don't actually have people get on planes and go there.
A severe disregard for everyone's safety.
And well, the maddest thing was, he was also there. Like, there's clips of him standing up on a table and saying to people, right, which of you guys have paid for villas? Okay, if you've paid for villas, just take a tent.
Yeah, that's true. Just grab, first come, first serve kind of thing. Yeah. And they're all absolutely soaked because the night before there was a horrendous fucking torrential storm. Yeah. I don't want to fucking give all the details away because it gets way more in depth.
It's an excellent documentary.
It's mind-boggling how something that got this far and continued, and how he's not in... Did he go to jail?
He's in jail, yes.
He did go to jail, right? I remember it being the case. It was up and down. Spoiler alert.
Well, so he was arrested for it, and then while he was out on parole, he set up another scam.
That's right.
Yeah, and was trying to scam more money.
VIP tickets or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, just go watch it. It's really, really worth it.
But the reason I bring this up is not only to promote that documentary, which is excellent, but I see a lot of parallels between that and the next thing you'll see on this list that we're going to talk about, that I've talked about before and I can now talk about again. Yeah. So
this man, when he has a bone, will not let go of it.
Well, I know I won't let go.
And you know what? To be fair to you, you made a very... In fact, you didn't even make the suggestion. You were given a suggestion. Let's do this. And they haven't held up their end of the bargain.
Exactly.
So I'll let this man rant away.
Yeah, so when you look at the Fyre Festival, what it seems to be is someone has gone and used all of his customers to take money up front with the promise of delivering something down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And when he needed more money, he just promised more things in order to get more money from people. And then eventually D-Day comes and you actually have to deliver said things. And, well, at this point, the guy's been living like a millionaire for a year, 2 years, never having to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Fucked. Well, to me, I personally see parallels between that and the company that I talked about recently on YouTube, or 6 months ago, actually, TTM Guitars.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of TTM Guitars, offer out endorsements to absolutely anybody. Literally, like, when you look at their artists, it's
all endorsers.
People that play in whoever you are listening to this right now, if you go down to your local pub, that shit band that plays on a Saturday night that no one wants to go and watch. Yeah, those are the kinds of people that are getting all these TTM endorsements.
Yeah, they're tier 1.
Yeah, and it's not cool, we like what you're doing here, have a free guitar. It's, oh, cool, you're interested in playing our guitars. Well, we'd love to work with you. We're going to take a discount off our product for you. So if you want to get this guitar, it's going to cost you like $1,200 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And when you've been with us for 3 years, we'll give you a free guitar or whatever. If the company's still going to be around in 3 years, kind of thing. But still, it's hundreds and hundreds of people where they're literally just bigging up guitar players' egos. We'll endorse you. Yeah, give us $1,500 or whatever it happens to be.
Let me speculate. The number of people I have seen defend them in public forums and say pretty much the same thing, I think you reach tier 2 by being a social media influencer for the company.
Right.
And that is, again, speculation, but there are only so many posts I can see of the same people making the same comments.
Yep.
Well, I bought mine, this Devastator, or whatever model it is they came out with. It's the only one I can remember the name of. And it's great, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's not, though, is it?
Well, and here's the magic thing, right? The TTM used to exist as a company beforehand. Mm-hmm. All of their guitars were drop shipped from China.
Shite is the word you're looking for.
And they were, like widely regarded as absolute shite. And they would often say USA on them and things like that. And they were just ultimately misleading people.
I remember seeing them. I do remember seeing them on, might have been on Amazon, and potentially eBay, 3 or 4 models, and thinking to myself, these look pretty interesting. They look like the, is it Palm Bay?
Yep.
The USA guitars, the flame tops, and they always had the same kind of, almost like beach vibe, if you know what I mean. Like, they look like nice guitars, and I was like, I'm drawing a couple of parallels here, like lower quality, but this is like a shine version of a Palm Bay.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
I like the word shine, not just because of the company, but like when you look at a Floyd Rose, if it's shiny, like I mean really shiny, there's your first warning sign that this is probably a Chinese fake.
Yeah.
This particular piece of hardware.
If you can leave a mark in it with your nail, it's probably tinfoil. Or die cast, whatever you want to call it. Like it's shit.
Yeah. So they were doing that, and they weren't expensive, to be fair.
No, they weren't.
People were getting what they paid for. Like they were painting them to be custom shop guitars, but they were still only charging $200-$300 for them. Well, Lance Benedict, the owner, decided to relaunch the company and build everything in the USA. And credit where credit is due. He has done that. He has set up shop in the USA, and things are being built in the USA.
Yes.
And he's charging USA custom shop prices for guitars that people have never played. So you've got all of these artists in all of their promo pictures playing their Epiphones and whatever shit they've been playing up until now, because that's all they have. That's literally all they have.
Yes.
They don't have a TTM. And the idea of being able to endorse a product, I will put my name behind this product, a product that you've never held, a product that you've never seen, a product that you can't possibly comment on standing behind it if you've never used it. That's the scam, if you like.
Can I just interject?
Sure.
Maybe I'm a hypocrite because I did the same with Ormsby, but I had known of the brand.
Yeah.
And I had known just for years and years of following the brand and watching the quality of stuff that went in and the dedication, the passion. Completely different scenario, but also the same thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I bought mine blindly thinking I would love to own one because I know that from what I've seen, there is every chance this is going to be great. And it was. Both of them are.
Well, yeah, you went into it with reason to believe the things that you had to believe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, similar thing with my Mayonnaise. Of course, I played Mayonnaise, but when I custom shop ordered that Evertune True Temperament one, like that was a really, really... that's the most expensive thing I've ever bought.
Furthest end
next
of the
to
room.
my house. Like that guitar cost more than my car. Like it's a really nice guitar, but there's every chance that could have come off the production line as a pile of shit. But there isn't, because
you knew it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I've got evidence to suggest that wasn't going to be the case. We're talking about a company that had never made any guitars in the US.
Yes.
And you got these people throwing down lots of money. Now, if hundreds of people all throw down $1,200 or however much it happens to be, well, that's a huge cash injection into the company that they can then set up shop and do all the things they want to do. Or go to NAMM. Now, going to NAMM is not cheap. A booth at NAMM is costing you thousands. And it's a very questionable one for someone like TTM because their whole model is to sell direct to the consumer. So why are you going to the North American Music Merchants show? Like, you're not trying to get yourself in bricks and mortar shops, are you?
True.
It's almost like the reason you'd go to NAMM is so you can give out a load of passes to your artists, bring them in, make them feel like a big deal. Because, oh, look, I've got a badge and I'm at NAMM and, like, I'm an artist at NAMM. And then who knows? Maybe a month from now, oh hey, like Steve, like I was just wondering if you'd be interested in, like, maybe we could work together on some sort of maybe a signature model, and if you just put in a little bit of seed money, it's just more cash flow for the business. It's the way I see it. Yeah. It's what it screams to me. Obviously, I should mention I did some videos talking about these guys before. I did a video kind of exposing everything that I'd found out about them.
Yep. If you are paying for the endorsement and everybody's paying for endorsements, you are a customer.
Yes.
And that's the gist of it.
That's a perfect summary of that first video. Lance really didn't like that, so he reached out to me and said, well, why don't we talk about it? Well, we'll do a video. We'll do an interview type thing. And I did like an hour and a half interview with Lance, and I wasn't easy. I didn't go easy on him.
No,
I asked him the hard questions,
which is good because you often do when you've got topics where it deserves journalistic rigor. Then you put it in, and that it's only fair, because if you're making the claim that this company isn't really sticking by what they're doing and this seems a bit shoddy, if he's going to come on and try and defend it, then it needs to defend it against the actual hard questions,
Yes.
and that's fair.
Yeah.
And sorry, continue. So
So
you
I
and Lance
did
had that
that, and
conversation.
then maybe 48 hours after that had gone up, he realised that he still didn't come off in a very good light. So decided he wanted both the videos taken down, and was filing all manner of YouTube-ish, like, you know, DMCA takedowns and the like, which, you know, never a good idea. And then it's essentially when he realised none of that was going to work, he said, just to let you know, Levi, I have my company, we've spoken with lawyers in Scotland, and we are going to be proceeding with legal action. You know, you've got 2 hours to take the video down, kind of thing.
Terrible bully boy tactics.
Yeah, I'm not a stranger to dealing with lawyers on situations like this, so I didn't just...
Every fucking week, by the way. Like, for people that don't know Levi, like, there's new drama every time he talks, man.
I didn't just go, cool, deal, I'll get rid of them then, kind of thing.
No, fuck.
I said to him, well, first of all, right, I know this area. I know this area well. And the first thing that, like, if you want to do an international lawsuit, by all means, right? But absolutely by all means, this will be great fun. It will give me more stuff to talk about.
And I'm sure your customers will love footing that bill.
Exactly, yeah. If you want to do that, by all means. But let me point out to you, the first thing a judge is going to look at is how reasonable have the parties been in this trying to, like, have they tried to deal with this outside of things? And when you give me a legal demand and say you've got 2 hours to comply, no judge is going to say that's reasonable. That's not fucking reasonable, right? You need to give me at least a fucking week, because you're in a different country, right? You can't say 2 hours. This was at like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, and on a Saturday, it's like, well, I'm going to need to wait till Monday to go and see my solicitor so I can ask his opinion.
Yep.
And then if we decide that we want to do something about it, then I need him to write a letter, and then that letter needs to be sent to your lawyers. Like, it's not like a 2 hour thing. Like, be fucking reasonable. Anyway, so I basically said that to Lance. I was like, you know, what a crock of shit. And also, you can't, by all means, you can say that you have an issue with the first video that you didn't play a part in, and you can try and say that I've used your trademark in it. And I explained to him how, you know, protection of trademark works. And you have a trademark, so people can't use your brand in order to try and sell something else using your name to mislead people into thinking that it's something that you've made. When I make a video talking about your company, people aren't they don't think your company made that video, and even if they did, they're not paying for the video. So, like,
and even better, I'd be very worried if they thought TTM was making a video about how TTM guitars are not worth buying.
Yes. Yeah.
Misunderstanding there a wee bit.
Yeah, so that was a crock of shit. But really what it came down to was, I pointed out, like, you can't agree to make a video with me, use my time making said video, having me edit the video, having me upload the video, etc., and then having me spend my time promoting that video so we could put your message out, the things that you wanted to say to people, and then turn around and tell me that you want me to take that down and that you're going to sue me for damages. Like, no, if anything, you fucking owe me money, because I have spent my time making these fucking videos to give you an opportunity. So I said, fuck that. If we're going to go this route, you owe me fucking money. And that's the route we went down. He put an offer in for a few $100s to say, cool, I will refund you for your time for that video. Will you take that video down then? And I said, well, it was more than that. It was, we'll do, like, here's the offer. We'll do that. And what I will do is I will send you a guitar, and you can review that guitar, and then you're going to give people a fair view on the guitar. If it's shit, say it's shit, but it's not going to be shit. I'm going to send you a top quality example. You know, that'll be the best way to really give your audience an idea of what we do. And I couldn't see anything fairer than that. Like, it wasn't ideal, but at the same time, you know,
you're giving him a fair chance to defend his own brand and his image and everything else.
So he said to me, give us 3 months to send you a guitar. And I knew that was unrealistic. I knew that none of their artists were getting guitars in 3 months. So I said, you know what, Lance?
You knew that Lance wasn't even remembering who you were in 3 months.
Yeah. So I said, you know what, Lance? You can have 6 months. How's that? And he said, absolutely fine. Yeah, that would be cool. So 6 months. And then I was very specific. Just so you're clear on this, if in 6 months' time that guitar isn't here, then I get to start talking about you again. Okay? And he said, cool, no problem. Well, 6 months has passed, and that guitar hasn't shown up. Shock fucking horror. And I'm not getting any responses from Lance anymore. Shock fucking horror. I appreciate that they are busy with NAMM, but yeah, it's it's not good enough. So
not.
I'm back. I'm back, babies. I'm talking about it again because so I fucking should. And I shouldn't, like, I knew that this was going to happen anyway. I knew I shouldn't have agreed to the terms before because it just, I knew it was a shite offer.
You agreed to the terms because you knew it wasn't going to go through, and you were happy to let him have that little bit of rope to hang himself with.
Yeah, exactly. So that guitar never materialised, and shock fucking horror, none of the guitars have materialised for any of their artists. And if you check out their Facebook group, you can see their artists getting pissed off about this and then being talked down from the ledge, because people will do that. The reason people argue about consoles back in the day, like Nintendo versus the Mega Drive, the SNES versus the Mega Drive, etc., people would argue about those because when you spend money on something, you have a vested interest in it, right? There is a term for it. You want to believe that it's the best it can be, and even if it's shite, you'll still justify it. I've had guitars in the past that I haven't really liked that much, but I'll constantly try and convince myself that I do, and I will certainly never let anyone else know that I have niggling doubts about a guitar, So, I mean, that 8 string's a perfect example of that. Not for any reason other than it has 8 strings.
Yes.
I don't play it a whole lot because it has 8 strings on it.
It's a phenomenal guitar, but outside of doing your 8-string thing, aye.
It's useless to me. So, yeah. And that's very much what the artists seem to be doing on this. Even like the ones that have been with the company for like 10 years. Like, I've seen them have freakouts in the group. Like, I can't believe I'm still waiting. It's been like 18 months or whatever. And then guys that have only just paid have been like, whoa, hang on a minute. You've been waiting 18 months. I was told it was going to be 3 months. It's like, strap yourself in, son. You've got a long wait ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I've had a couple of my friends that are at NAMM go by the TTM booth. Check it out. They seem to have like 5 or 6 guitars up. One of them has a Raiders logo on it.
Oh, nice.
Which I assume is unlicensed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how much they paid for that license, if they paid for anything at all.
Someone should probably look into that.
Is that someone you by any chance, Levi?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Not you. It must be an anonymous person.
Yeah.
Levi A.
Yeah. But the thing that made me laugh is, I had a friend go and check out the booth, and I genuinely wanted to know. I said, name redacted, let me know how the guitars play, see how they are. And he came back and he said, Levi, they won't let me play any of the USA guitars. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, there's some hanging up, but they won't let me play them. I was like, why? And he said, well, I asked them, and I think he said the guy's name was Charlie that he spoke to. And Charlie told him that we were in a rush to get things ready for NAMM. So basically, these have just been put together in the car park, and they're not set up to be played.
Which definitely sounds like a great business model, going to NAMM when you don't even want to sell to brick and mortar stores, you want to do direct sales.
Than having guitars that people can't play.
I mean, you're knocking out the park, boys.
But I did hear that the booth was very busy, to be fair. Very busy. There were a lot of people there. Unfortunately, it wasn't what you'd call traffic. It wasn't people walking by and going into the booth. It was people that were staying in the booth because they all had a NAMM badge that said TTM on it.
Oh, okay.
So they felt important. They had their party last night. I've not been able to find any pictures of it or anyone that actually went to it. Probably because it was $40 to get into. There were a bunch of fucking nobodies playing, plus Don Dokken, who you don't really think of as being a guitar player. Again, I know how expensive putting on an event at NAMM is. It's obscenely expensive because like the guys at Vigier did it and it's just obscenely expensive.
But let's be honest, TTM aren't paying for it. The people who bought guitars that haven't got guitars paid for it.
Yeah, and the artists that all showed up to it and paid $40 to get in. They paid
TTM
for
Festival.
it. But the magical thing is $40 to get into this gig of a bunch of fucking nobodies who now think they're big deals because they play some nobody guitars. You know who?
No, they don't play them.
Yeah,
they don't play them.
Point. They didn't even have them to play on the gig.
I bet they weren't even allowed to play them. The ones that they had there at the gig.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know who was playing just down the road? Same night, free gig.
No.
Free gig. I'm pretty sure free gig. Andy Wood, Andy Timmons, Paul Gilbert, Mark Littieri, and Nilly Brosh.
Who?
Yeah, I know. Why would you go and see that?
None of them play TTM.
I know. Why would you go see that gig? That free gig when you can pay $40 for this pile of shite. So there we go. That's the update on that one. But it kind of brings us nicely into the subject of NAMM, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There's loads of cool stuff happening at NAMM.
Oh,
and here's our opportunity to talk about Rev.
Let's do it.
We've gone from negativity to positivity.
Exactly, bro. Let's rev this up.
Oh, I like what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry for the info. Let me just get my lunchbox. Amp.
Cheeky.
I mean, that was bad.
No, it was good.
So it's the DG20, right?
I think it's the D20, I believe. Let's look this up because Levi's knocked out the park right away.
Oh, of course.
So there wasn't a lot of speculation on it or any real hype until basically NAMM, and it was like, check this. This is fucking cool. And come on, Levi. See.
Yeah, it's the D20.
The D20.
What's the D? I'm thinking of the G pedals.
Yes, you are.
The D amp and the G pedals.
That's it. So this little lunchbox head is the features on it are insane, and as I say, like I hadn't really heard anything about it. There wasn't necessarily any like hype of, oh, they're going to release this wee amp and there's this and there's that. This is what we brought to NAMM. Look at this, and it just like took itself off.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see more demos of it. It looks fucking spectacular. So this is basically, was it single channel?
I believe so. Yeah,
it's clean voiced anyway, very low gain, and probably up to kind of medium breakup, maybe crunch style.
Crunch.
20-watt valve head with a 2 notes torpedo embedded XLR out for recording, which is fucking phenomenal.
So you can load impulse responses into the amplifier. Yeah,
it's mind-bending. A small but loud, so more than capable valve head, which is designed, as I say, it's low to medium gain. It's designed especially to take pedals in front of it, so it sounds good when you gain stack.
Yeah.
And it's specifically voiced for their pedals, the G3 and the G4. I've only heard 2 or 3 demos, and it just, oh my god,
it's just what you want. You know, it's like it's
so
such
many
a
good
convenient option. I have no use for it, annoyingly, because I have a 2-note torpedo. You know, but if I didn't have a 2-note torpedo, that would be the perfect example of the sort of thing that I'd be like, right, I want one of these for my studio. And
it's exactly. It's for.
You know what I really like about this?
Tell me.
Sorry to interrupt, but Sir have just released something similar.
That's right. The
It's a
P50?
PT50. Yeah, it's done, and it has impulse responses here by the looks of things. And everyone was like, "Oh, that's fantastic! Like, yeah, what a great idea!" And then Rev have done it, and it's cheaper
and better by the looks of things.
Yeah, it just nice. It's nice when you see that sort of.
Yeah.
It's not through any sort of espionage. It's just a couple of companies have had a similar idea, and then everyone's excited about the Sir, and then suddenly the Rev comes out, and people are like, "Oh, it's good to see that." We like that stuff.
Absolutely.
So very cool, very cool.
Absolutely, and sorry to plug them again, but not sorry to plug them again. But there was a couple of beautiful guitars in the Ormsby booth, and some really, really cool announcements. Obviously, we've now got Rusty Cooley and Dino Cazares as
in fairness, like I would. I never really care for Dino's playing, and the guitars that he has, not really my cup of tea. But the Rusty Cooley one, very cool.
Definitely, a very, very interesting thing. And what I love about it is the small innovations. Trying to get a nut for a multi-scale from Floyd Rose, impossible. So Perry and the guys have designed their own. It's cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Which is what should be done. When we were talking about like the Falbo stuff, the original Abassi Falbo things, and we were like, well, the nut width isn't right.
Yeah, remember
and being told, yeah, but that's the width that Floyd Rose offer.
So make your own.
Cool, make your own. Just make your own. And they're like, oh, it costs so much to order. Yeah, cool. You're charging a lot for the guitars.
It's worth it for the end finish.
Yeah, it's worth it to then be able to say, oh, when you talk about the guitar, oh, and you see this component here, you can't get these on the market. Mm-hmm. So we made it. We had these made because we wanted every aspect of this to be perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, credit to Perry on that stuff. I've spoke with Perry briefly, and it was pleasant, but I have criticised him publicly, and not directly, but more. My most popular video is the fan fret one, where I'm talking about what fan frets for, and again, the answer is for tension. Like it changes, it allows you to tune lower and maintain tension. You can have a string tuned lower and have a reasonable tension on it. But many people will tell you, no, it's for ergonomics. That's why people fan frets. And aside from the obvious, which is, I found this interesting looking at the NAMM guitars actually, the parallel fret, where you have that parallel fret, will dictate how dramatic the fan is in each
Absolutely,
in each
how balanced that is.
And it's really interesting that Ormsby, ESP, and Ibanez all put their parallel fret in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different place. Same with Miners. I think they both go for the 7th. But if memory serves me correctly, Perry goes for the 5th fret, 7th fret. So Perry's 7th fret, which Yeah, I like that. Ibanez is 12th fret, and that's useless.
Oh, it's miles off.
Yeah.
And they also have the fretboard overspill past the nut, which looks terrible.
Yeah. And it looks more terrible because you have the parallel fret at the 12th fret, because what that means is the further you go down the neck and you get to that first fret, the fan becomes more extreme.
Oh,
it's ridiculously angled that way, and therefore you have even more overlap at that fretboard.
Yep.
So my point is, if fan frets were for ergonomics, then why has nobody agreed on the way to do it? Why does everybody not use the exact same system? And ultimately, they use different systems because everyone has a different opinion on what is the most ergonomic. Of course, everyone has a different opinion for it. So therefore, if there's no objective truth to it, if there's no objective, this is the best way to do it, then that can't be the purpose. Whereas objectively, the tension thing is objectively true.
Absolutely. And I don't think anyone would or could argue against it. Tension is a big part of it as well. But I think that differing where the parallel fret goes is more a trial and error than it is a we want to stake that we've got it right. I think it's companies trying to find what suits best for their customers and then maybe not taking the feedback. But
I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because the Ibanez, the one at the 12th fret, I just can't see any reason why you'd do that. Other than if you'd just literally gone, oh, cool, we're going to do like these fan fret things. Cool, let's fan it out from the middle of the guitar. That's the obvious thing to do. Whereas in reality, you look at it and you go, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the reason I bring this up is because on the Rusty Cooley model, because Rusty wants a Floyd Rose on it, that means that your parallel bit essentially has to be the bridge.
Yes, that's
which
right.
is, something that I'd actually said to people in the past. Like, why not either have if it was for ergonomics, why not either have your solid fixed bridge fan the other way? If it wasn't for tension reasons, why have them both go in opposite directions? Why not just have it tilted this way, and then the frets would all be angled anyway, and you could have it angled however much or however little you want. Again, it's because you want the additional tension on the low strings. But yeah, in seeing that done on his, it's perfect. It's so cool. It's a subtle fan, but what that means is you have everything that you would expect on down the low end, a slight fan, but as you come higher and higher up the neck, that fan becomes less and less prominent. And when you look at Rusty's guitar from the 12th fret up to the 24th, nothing looks different. 27th, yeah. None of it looks different. They look like straight frets because the fan is so minimal based on how far away it is.
Well, that's it. I think it's been referred to flippantly or officially, I'm not sure, as the half fan.
Right, okay.
That being the case. And it's to incorporate because there are no affordable or suitable trims really at the moment that are worth putting on the guitars to try and fit that. That's my understanding of it. The Futura model was the first one I saw they'd put a trim on, which is a kind of throwback Superstrat shape, I believe, unless I've got it mixed up with the Genesis. I might be wrong. But that was the idea. Trying to find hardware that would be good as a bridge for it that wasn't unbelievably pricey.
Yep. And also not ideal, because even if you have a Floyd Rose that's angled, that changes the way palm muting is going to work.
Yeah.
So just not ideal. So
yeah, I mean, anything that's going to change the basically the pitch of the string is going to be bad, depending on what your hand is. And I think Kaler do a multi-scale fixed bridge, Floyd bridge, which Agile use, but Jesus Christ, it's so big and clunky and not appeasing.
I should point out, right, you've just done something that I do there. You said Kaler make, and then you described it as a Floyd. And I had someone criticise me because we're going to talk about Paul Gilbert, and I talk about his first Ibanez signature having a Floyd on it. But that's accepted terminology. Like, I don't need to say an edge in the same way that, like, not all motorised personalised water transport units are jet skis.
Exactly. And
if it's not made by Kawasaki, it's not a jet ski.
Not all vacuums are hoovers.
Bingo. Exactly.
Not all lavatories are toilets.
Yes. Is that a thing?
I believe
Is toilet
so.
a brand?
I believe so.
I didn't know that. I'll trust you on it, but
I may be wrong.
Velcro is like
exactly.
Velcro is like actually it's hook and loop. That's what that thing is. Velcro is the brand. Duct tape.
Exactly. So
when we say Floyd Rose, what we mean is a floating bridge.
Yes, a two-way floating bridge. With a locking nut.
Yeah, in the same way that we would say a floating tremolo unit, despite the fact that it's a vibrato unit, but we call it a tremolo unit incorrectly, again, because that's the terminology that people associate with it based on Fender calling it a tremolo unit.
Yes.
So there you go, guys that said that I was wrong for calling it a Floyd Rose. I know what I mean. You should know what I mean too.
Stop arguing semantics and grow up. This is the internet. This is for real people.
So anyway,
Real
hats
problems.
off to Perry. I think that Rusty. I don't know how active Rusty was in the design. I imagine reasonably.
I think both of them were hand in hand by the talks, or the way that the group chat goes.
Yeah.
The excitement even in just as between the artists was like, Jesus Christ, this looks so cool. Like, and we were getting sneak peeks and like, check this and check that. It's just
I liked it. I definitely like it. It's a good
the thing that
guitar.
gets me is it's gorgeous
For that style, not for me.
Of course, like I don't imagine it'd be something I would play other than like pick it up to go, this is cool, because it's an engineering feat. It's the same as the Jared Dines 18 string.
Yep.
You could do it and you've done it and it suits that person. Maybe not everyone's cup. It's not the same idea as having just a Les Paul that anybody would play. But the thing that got me about some of the pictures of Rusty holding that guitar, the neck access is insane.
Yeah.
He's holding it by the 26th fret.
Yeah.
He's holding it at the bottom of the neck and it's perfect. Like he can hold it with no problems. The access is fucking insane.
You're going to have lots of purists come out and be like, but the problem with that is you're supposed to have the pickup under the 24th fret node, so any guitar that has more than 22 frets will never sound as good. People that say that are idiots.
People are idiots
because they miss the point. Like, that applies to an open string. If I have my neck pickup under the 24th fret, when I play an open string, that pickup is under the harmonic node. But as soon as I play the first fret, that harmonic node has now moved closer to the bridge. If I put my finger on the 11th fret, that harmonic node is nowhere near there. So, stop being elitists.
It's also a half scale, multi-scale. So does that change where the harmonic nodes are going to sit as well? It won't for the treble side because that's still a 25.5 inch scale. Yep. But I think the top end is 26.2.
Well, you'd need to angle that pickup to.
We are getting far too geeky here. Let's just move on.
I like geeky.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. So other things, other news things. Well, I should probably talk about companies that I work with and have worked with. Not that I have as strong a relationship with Vigi anymore because they don't like that. I assume they don't like the fact that I bought loads of Mayonnaise guitars because they would make the exact thing I wanted. But they've brought out a semi-hollow body GV, so that's kind of cool. Yes, that's kind of cool. I'll give them that.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
I'm not big in the GV shape, to be fair.
I know, me neither, to be fair. But
it's cool to see them branch out.
Any sort of innovation innovation is probably not. Just doing new things for the company is always good.
Yes.
Mayonnaise, there are a couple of new things from Mayonnaise. They have now multi-scale Hydrus.
Nice.
Which is cool. I posted one up in our little group chat, and it gave me a chub. Having said that, it's super cool. It is super cool. I do really like it. But the criticism that people have of the Hydra is that cut out at the back, right? And the bit that I explained that you thread your cable through this bit, and that's there so you can't hit the tuners with your legs. It looks a little bit more extreme because of the fanned, the angled bridge.
I get you
on it. But still, again, it's nice to see them trying things and doing things.
It's the kind of thing that, and you and I know, we went to play the guitar. I didn't like it until I picked it up and I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I can forgive whether I think it's aesthetically pleasing or not because it is good.
Yeah, form, function over looks.
That's it, function over fashion.
Yeah. My wife said that.
No comment.
Yeah. So, also, another thing, I've not got it on that list, but True Temperament.
True Temperament?
I've not checked this, but I do remember Strandberg are now offering True Temperament on a lot more guitars.
That's right, and they've got a neck through model as well.
Okay. But that's not the True Temperament news. I didn't check this. Again, I was told this yesterday, but as soon as I was told this on my stream, it made sense because I'd seen the Strandberg guitars, right? True Temperament are now offering stainless steel frets.
Wow.
Yeah,
that must be a fucking nightmare to work on.
It's fucking annoying for me because that's just turned up with their other TT frets.
So what?
Well, I want the stainless steel ones, don't I?
And you can get them next time it needs refretted.
Yeah. And based on how much I play it, probably 100 years from now. So.
Which is even better. Who needs to pay any bills?
Which will be right around when TTM artists start getting their guitars in.
Oh, the digs are here, aren't they? The digs are here.
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. So, Mayonnaise, that's I guess worth mentioning. TT frets. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've not done the full NAMM dig, but there are a few other things that are worth mentioning. Ed Sheeran, signature brand.
That by Walden.
Loudon.
Loudon. That's a slap in the face to Martin.
But again, it's the same as the Abassi concept, and it's the same as the Chapman concept, and if you are in a position where you have enough influence over an audience and people are interested in what you do, and you have that ability to sell something to them, it makes sense that you go out and sell something to them rather than getting a tiny royalty on a signature model. So I totally understand why Ed would do something like that. Initially, I'm not skeptical. I know it will be great because George Loudon is involved. It's George. I'm sure it's George.
You might be right. I mean, I've not played many Loudon guitars. I'm not big on, or a Loudon. I'm going to say Loudon.
Yeah.
Because I'm not great on acoustic guitars,
Sure.
and that's the reason why I don't play them very often, because I make an arse of myself.
They're incredible.
Or you get guys that could just have the magic touch. But for what I've heard of them, and their reputation at least has always been phenomenal.
So I've not looked into the business structure of this. Loudon are too boutique. They're a small company comparatively compared to mine. So I don't. It's the same, not quite the same concern as the Frank Falbo thing, but do they have the infrastructure to be able to deliver the amount of guitars that Ed Sheeran is going to sell? Have they sorted something out? Are these being manufactured somewhere? Again, probably could have looked into this. But
other side of the coin, again, speculation. Maybe they had that infrastructure in place and no one to launch it to bring it to the market with a great effort. And Ed Sheeran seems to be the perfect person for that in their eyes, because that could also be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they've maybe went down the route of, rather than this being like really tailor-made boutique guitars and every one of them having a real hand finish, we could maybe have like a run done through whichever factory or however they want to do it, and we need someone to launch it and be the face of that business.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, why does Ed need George?
Because well, he's going to make money out of it, firstly.
Yeah, but who? Ed or George?
Both.
But yeah, so why does Ed need George? If he's not playing some sort of role in the construction.
Why is Ed Sheeran still doing anything musically? If the only thing we're talking about here is just money, because he's rich as fuck.
That's a good point.
A very good point. As far as I'm aware, Justin Bieber paid him and Skrillex to write that full last album. Okay. And I think they were compensated handsomely.
I would imagine so, yeah. So that's an interesting one to keep our eyes on. And again, I keep saying this, I think we're going to see more and more artists getting involved in manufacture of guitars rather than going the old traditional signature route thing. So, yeah. Some effects related things. Stompenberg, right?
That's the Thomann system.
Yeah. Tell us about this, Mike.
Is fucking cool. So, I don't know the technical jargon ins and outs, but basically Thomann have designed a system that allows you to hear and basically demo pedals over the internet. So they sound like the fucking pedal. So imagine a Kemper that literally just profiles a pedal, but not just with certain settings, that you can fully control any pedal you imagine, and you can do it from home.
Yeah.
That, in theory, because I don't know how well it works, is fucking phenomenal. And knowing Thomann, they'll have done it very well.
I have every bit of confidence that it'll work. I've not personally used it, but I've seen it being used. A couple of things, different product, totally different field, because obviously, video games. PlayStation own both PlayStation Now, the product, which is like Gaikai run streaming games. So I can literally have a membership to PlayStation Now and not have to have anything downloaded on my PlayStation. I can literally stream the game to my, which is just incredible amounts of data transfer, and it works. And also,
I think Nvidia do the same for PC gamers.
Yeah,
I know there's a couple of different guys that were doing that, and it's already there's been hundreds of companies that have tried to do the cloud-based gaming.
Yeah,
everyone's running off these super high-spec systems, and all you need is a good internet connection and fairly decent specs.
Yeah. Or even you can do remote play on a PlayStation Vita. So I've literally been in London with Tom Quayle and watched him sat there with me with his Vita, remote playing from his PlayStation 4 at home in Leeds. And it worked.
The infrastructure's great if it works.
If you can get it to work, and that was on Lick Library's internet, which was dreadful. So
he's got the knives out today. I mean, if it works, what a fucking sales tool. You don't need any sales people. You don't need to take into consideration what's the closest you're going to get to your guitar, that kind of stuff. You just plug it at your interface in the house and you play and you go, fuck me.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, the key detail is you play. Because sometimes it's how something feels, not just how it sounds. Because it would be one thing to have a system whereby you could have a DI clip of your guitar playing and you could plug it into this piece of software and then hear what it would sound like, but to actually feel how it feels.
Well, that's, as far as I know, the Stompenberg, you can play pre-recorded licks through it and fuck with it, and I think you can actually loop on the system. I think it was up to 8 seconds. Again, it was a few days ago I read it. But having that possibility, so I'm going to play into this and literally see how it feels, and it records it obviously as a clean DI, so you can fuck with the pedal over what you have just played.
Yeah.
To, like, say it's an overdrive, you can see how much gain you want in there, how it's got to respond when you pull the volume down rather than, or the volume up and the gain down, and your tone knob, or whether you've got switches on it, like when you've got the precision drive that's got the, I think it's like a notch for mid, cut and boost.
Yep.
Like,
such a cool idea, and I love it when companies have a good idea like this and they just put in the time, effort, and to R&D to try, kind of make it work. I'll be interested to check this one out. Kemper.
You can tell me more about the Kemper
Well,
stuff.
I have a Kemper and I love my Kemper.
And understandably, and I would love to own a Kemper, but I do not own a Kemper.
Yeah, I have a Kemper and it's cool. It's really cool. I use it obviously for my videos. I don't know the ins and outs of the piece of kit though. Like I can't go through menus and do I'm not a technically minded kind of guy. It amazes me that I can somehow, I've set up my computer to be able to record 2 microphones. In fact, when we did that one with Kieran here and we had 3 microphones, I had set up my computer to record 3 microphones simultaneously. I can't believe that happened.
Mm-hmm. That hurt you inside. I can see it.
But it did actually happen. So that's impressive for me. So the Kemper is way beyond my capabilities. But I literally deleted all of the profiles that came stock on it and just put maybe 20 profiles on there that I knew I'd like. And I just go between those. And I've got probably a few more than 20, but I literally just use maybe 4 of them.
Yeah.
So like it does what I need it to do. My criticism of it is if I did want to adjust things on it, you have to do it on the unit, which can be quite fiddly.
Yeah. I mean, with the Infinity, I don't know what they call it. Is it knobs? No, it's not a knob. It's a... There's a name for a digital style one that's Infinity. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that it looks like the dashboard of a very expensive car that's got a lot of digital options. Yeah. And as much as you could work it out, and there's probably guys that could.
They're doing a software version of it. Is from they've hinted at a software version, which is super cool, and it's the lacking part of the Kemper. Like actually, you can do all of that on the Axe FX. That is where with the bias. You can even line 6 the Helix.
I was going to say that's how the pod became so good. Not only was it great in its physical form, but when Pod Farm appeared, fucking hell, like it was just. Let's be honest, it blew Amplitude and all that out the water because you had a physical item you could load these tones onto, and you could set your computer and fuck with them and make whatever noise you want.
What I would really like is some sort of Kemper native, and the reason I say that, like an actual plug-in form of my Kemper that was, you could either be run separately or somehow powered by my Kemper. Mm-hmm. But the Kemper is awesome. But what the Line 6 Helix native has over it is I can record my tracks in Line 6 Helix native and then just change the amp sound to whatever I want. Whereas with the Kemper, what I'm doing is I've got my great amp sound, but I'm then recording that amp sound. And of course I can DI from the Kemper as well at the same time and then fuck around with that using plugins. But again, if I want that DI to then be a different amp on my Kemper, I need to reamp it through the Kemper. Which,
long route for shortcut.
Bingo. Yeah. So, the idea of like a software version of the Kemper. Well, it seems that somebody's done that. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm. It's a nice little segue straight into the Slate Overload.
Yeah, Stephen Slate Audio. Is it Stephen Slate Audio?
That's Stephen Slate. It's the same people that do the Stephen Slate drums.
Yes. So, Overloud. This, I mean, you need to watch the marketing thing for it. In fact, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Jamie sent me this.
Sorry, I keep coughing. Specifically, sorry to Levi, because he's going to have to edit this out.
No, I don't even bother.
Aye, well, fuck you guys. I'm just going to cough right in the mic from now on. Make it really loud and horrible.
I just reduce any really dramatic peaks in the sound and then whack a compressor on it. And that does the trick. So,
this is Stephen Slate, and I am so happy to announce the addition of the new Overloud THU Slate Edition to the Slate Digital Everything Bundle. Overloud THU Slate Edition adds over 30 new guitar amplifier
cool, 30 new models.
Also,
19 new guitar cabinet models.
Cool.
33 effects and pedals.
Cool.
And 18 microphones.
Cool. Loads of companies do that though.
guitar rig.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be wrong, the thing that's maybe a wee bit different for the start of this is a lot of those amplifiers at the start of it are clearly licensed, because you're seeing Randall, as well as like other actual brand names in there.
But then others aren't. Like, look at this.
Oh no, there's some that aren't, there's some that are, but my point is that there's some
Yep.
obvious crossover from big companies who've went, well, yeah, we'll allow you
We'll
to
get
use our...
behind it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. We will allow you to use our name in the product because we stand behind it.
Yep.
But
some of the biggest game-changing news of THU is the rig player. Any guitarist
What?
or amp aficionado has likely taken notice of a hardware box that has
A hardware box.
become
Oh, yeah.
famous for profiling entire amp rigs.
What does that sound like?
I don't know. Should we listen to more and we'll maybe get an idea of what he's asking or what he's talking
Well,
about?
THU includes a feature called R2M, which stands for Rig to Model, and this allows Overloud engineers to reproduce the famous amp profiles for the THU's rig player, as well as create their own profiles from the best sounding amp rig.
Reproduce profiles. Now, I'm not sure the ins and outs of the software of how this works. I'm not making any accusations, right? But what that sounds like to me is that Slate Audio have managed to come up with a piece of software that can read a Kemper profile.
And doesn't need the hardware.
Yeah. Which,
I mean, the way around that would maybe be some sort of digital conversion, so it's no longer just reading their
Yeah,
type
yeah,
of
of course.
file. It's whatever.
But-
I'd think is the easier
well,
way.
I think, yeah, you'd probably need to do that for legal reasons. I would
That's
imagine.
what I'm thinking. That maybe that's where they get around the idea of it being. Here's
To
the
be
files.
fair, right, Kemper have kind of dropped the ball on this one and bring our face up. So the thing with a Kemper is like companies make profiles of amps, and you can buy like there's a lot of great companies out there that make some really good profiles. In fact, Get Good Drums, Nolly and Misha, they've just released a Kemper gain pack. So
Which will be silly.
yeah, but there's no sort of copyright protection on any of these. So literally, I could download that profile and I could literally just email you the all of the Kemper things, all of the actual profiles, without you having they're not being licensed to you in any way, shape, or form. Which is it makes Kemper like a bit of a Wild West thing. When I announced that I'd got a Kemper, I had several people immediately get in touch with me and be like, either I've profiled hundreds of my own amps. Do you want them? Hundreds of amps. Do you want them? But also people saying like, I sold my Kemper, but I've spent hundreds and if not thousands of dollars on profiles over the years. Do you want me to send them to you? And on the one hand, I was like, yeah, cool. But also on the other hand, I don't know. Like, no, I don't.
I mean,
It would be cool to have them, but my problem with technology like this is option paralysis. I don't want thousands and thousands of amps to search through. I want 5 amps in my mind that I want, and I'm going to go and buy the profiles for just those amps. So, it's a weird one because I did a video where I talked about like the ethical issues that some people have with a Kemper, and is it stealing to own a Kemper and then buy a Friedman and then profile that Friedman and then either just sell that Friedman on and you've kind of still kept the essence of what that Friedman was, or even I can think of a YouTuber in particular that did weird pedal reviews, and he was very open about the fact that he just ordered all of these pedals and then as soon as he was done with the video review he was just sending them back. And it's like it's not what that system is in place for. But in theory it could work. I could just go into Guitar, find whatever expensive, the new Mesa John Petrucci signature or whatever, be like, cool, I want that please, stick it on my credit card, bring it home, profile it, take it back, say, actually I've changed my mind. Like, it's, some people would argue that's wrong. Other people would argue that you can hear the difference between the real amp and the Kemper profile of the amp.
And those
Therefore, it
people are
doesn't
stupid.
matter. Those people are wrong, yeah. Glenn Fricker did a good video on this, actually. He did software VSTs versus one real amp, and it was a blind test. And everyone picked, well, not everyone, but most people voted for, believe it was amp 3 that they went for. And, you can tell that one's the amp. And it wasn't the amp. It just sounded more different than all of the others, and it didn't sound more ampy. It just stood out as being more different. Nobody could tell the difference between a VST model from 3 different pieces of software and the amp that it's designed to sound like, because you just can't in an A/B situation, and you certainly can't in the middle of a loud mix.
And it definitely doesn't matter as long as it doesn't sound digitized and shit.
Yeah,
Why would you give a single fuck?
yeah,
It's like, my favourite thing about these kind of skeptics are these scenarios with skeptics is James Randi. I believe it was him. I think we spoke about this before.
Yeah, we talked about James Randi on the show.
The audio test, and he was saying to these people, if you can tell me the difference between cheap cables and these super expensive, let's say they were Monster or boutique, fucking made in an oxygenless environment and super wrapped and in cryo-treated cables, and if you can hear the difference, I'll give you all this money. Yeah. And A/B tested these with all these people, and they all made their accusations of their predictions, and basically said everyone's wrong because we didn't use any of them. We soldered some old metal coat hangers together, point to point, and it gave the same signal. So you're all wrong.
Yeah. So sometimes people are silly.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So I'll be following this and see what happens with this. I would be very surprised if someone over at Kemper hadn't spoken to their lawyers and said, is there something we can do about this? And there won't be. Of course, there won't be anything you can do about this. No. But yeah, very interesting to say, now you can what was the terminology they used? Copy a rig?
Which stands for rig. Well, THU includes a
Recreate
feature called
profiling?
R2M, which stands for rig to model. And this allows Overloud engineers to reproduce the famous amp profiles for the...
Reproduce a profile.
A copy of a copy.
Exactly. Very, very interesting. And I'd be interested to see where this is going to take us in terms of like the ethics of modelling and stuff.
Dolly the sheep fucking software scenarios.
Yeah.
Do you think these kind of things push companies to innovate further? Because they come away from NAMM going, right, we've missed this gap in the market and we need to do this?
I think it frustrates people. I could be wrong about that, but I know like amp builders are frustrated by the Kemper.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like we talked Larry amplification.
Well, we didn't actually, but you've named it now.
I know. That was deliberate. I was wanting that to just slip through.
Drop
Let's
it
draw
right
more
there.
attention to it.
Yeah. Larry amplification.
It must be tough for like guys like Larry amplification who make really nice, high quality, very expensive amps. For, I don't know, $3,000 or whatever. And someone can just buy one of those and then profile it and then sell that profile. Mm-hmm. Sure, they can't call it a Larry amplification profile because they'll be using his a Barry L or whatever. Like
all it needs is the implication. That's what it is, and even if it's the image on the software looks like it.
Yeah, like I'd love to buy one of Larry's amps. Sure, why not? But it's literally never ever gonna happen under any circumstances. It's never. I could have limitless money and it wouldn't happen because I'd need limitless space. So like. But what I can do is I can buy someone's profile of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that has given me one more reason to never need to buy a Larry amp.
Very much so.
So, yeah, I think it will demotivate builders. And I think, this could end up demotivating Kemper. We will see. Definitely very interesting.
Definitely interesting.
Anyway, two more little guitars to talk about.
Speaking of interesting, and that's the worst segue that I can put in place, the Fender Teleacoustic.
So I made a video about this.
It's not the first time they've done a Teleacoustic, and they've never, and the Stratoacoustic, and they've never been particularly aesthetically pleasing, nor great crossovers of things that no one wants. But this...
I'm not bringing it up. Just keep talking.
You know what? Like, I want other people who are risky enough and brave enough to go and look it up. Are you a bad enough dude to Google what the fuck it looks like? Because it's horrendous. That's not any better.
No, that isn't any better, but I'm going to bring this up. We will talk about this because there's been accusations have been levied.
And that's understandable.
Yeah, but also not.
Considering the parent company can't copy someone else for their own shape. To spoil that for anyone who's paying attention. Yes, if any of you haven't seen this new Teleacoustic...
What's it called? It's not the Teleacoustic.
It's just revolting. That's what it's called. Just write in NAMM. Acoustasonic, right. Throw that straight into the acoustic stratosphere because it's fucking abhorrent.
Oh, I see what you did there. I like that.
Look at the price on it as well.
That's
man.
the problem with it. It's obscenely expensive.
That's not the problem. That is one of the many problems with it.
I don't actually take huge issue with this guitar.
Sorry, who asked for a Telecaster-shaped acoustic guitar? Who did? I know what I need. No, it's not that.
I don't take huge issue with it, mate. Honestly, I don't. So I'll bring it up for people.
Why don't you? Look at it. What the fuck is this? That's something you would buy off AliExpress for 90 quid and hope it never turns up.
The thing is, it sounds pretty good. Credit where credit is due. It sounds pretty good. If I go, Anderton's put up a video of it, right? Danish Pete. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, BuzzFeed. I was making fun of BuzzFeed earlier.
Good.
So the Acoustasonic.
It was right up as soon as you started writing it came up. Oh, no, you fucked it.
Okay.
Levi's good at the internet.
Yeah, Levi can do this stuff.
I'll say that again in English. Levi is good at the internet. That was somewhere between mumbling and having a blocked nose. So I just... Maybe I'm rambling, but I just can't fathom why anyone would want one of these.
So this is the Anderton's video. This is a good loop. Cool. I
Doesn't
like that.
sound any better than any other acoustic that would probably cost
No,
us.
of course it does. And there's the issue. It's
fraction
expensive,
of it.
But really, I look at it and I'm like, like I say in my video where I talked about it, it's too expensive. It's almost £2,000. It's not an impulse buy. None of that interests me, right? The thing that really interests me is Kiesel fanboys, and they are the worst. Kiesel fanboys are the worst of internet people.
You think so? I think
really
any
do.
fanboy's the worst.
Well,
But you've obviously got your axe to grind, so please
the only
grind
reason
away.
Kiesel fanboys are the worst is because like Jeff Kiesel has done some objectively shitty things. Like there's evidence of objectively shitty things. There's being a fanboy, and there's being a fanboy and closing your eyes and never being able to say, okay, that was shitty.
I thought you were a fan of separating artists and art.
I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
Like, I don't need to necessarily patron someone who's a shitty person.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Aye, no, like it was a genuine
I'd still
question. It
buy a
wasn't.
Kiesel, don't get me wrong.
No, of
I
course.
like it. I think they make some really great stuff. That's kind of my point. Like, I don't dislike Alan Holdsworth, but Alan Holdsworth fans are the worst human beings.
Oh, aye.
They are
aye.
fucking insufferable.
Aye.
Like,
And
I
funnily
challenge
enough-
anybody to join the Alan Holdsworth fan group on Facebook and stay there for more than a week.
I'm going to upset some people here. The first comment I made about this Acoustasonic to Levi was, this is the kind of guitar, it's so ugly, Alan Holdsworth wouldn't play it.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason I take issue is like, so there's the guitar, right? It's a Telecaster, and they've got this. And I did say in my video that's basically a Kiesel bevel. Well, we've talked about the Kiesel bevel, on the side where it comes through to the natural wood.
An arm contour cut that cuts through the top that quite a few people have done before. Kiesel, that kind of thing.
Have they though?
Have they not?
Well, lots of people keep saying that, but then when I keep asking for pictures, like not because I'm challenging them, because I genuinely want to know.
curious?
So, like it comes up, especially we talk about this a lot. I want to be able to correct myself and say, oh, this company did it before them. To be honest, because it's Kiesel fans, worst fans, that are like, this is fucking Kiesel's thing. Jeff's been doing this. Like, he invented this thing. Like, I want to be able to say, well, no, this company did it, and this company did it, and this company did it. So,
even if Carvin did it, that didn't mean that Jeff invented it. That means that his dad did.
but the point is, it's totally something that I associate with Kiesel.
Okay, that's fair enough. You know what? I think he's maybe been the first person that's done it on mainstream branded guitars, but I have seen it previously on other custom builds, etc. None that come to the top of my head, but if I do find any, we'll speak about it again.
Yes, please do. So what happened to... I bought up the Kiesel, and it's now gone.
Run away. Did you put it in a window by any chance? No, one lower. There we go.
I'll do. That was a Facebook post.
Oh, okay, maybe it's on Facebook then. In fact, it'll be the 2 tabs along, it'll be that one there.
Oh, yeah. I'm an idiot.
Fucking Levi, eh?
Right, so, let's load up.
Excuse me.
Right, I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry, but that guitar is not that.
It's not. I mean, the Kiesel is significantly prettier and still ugly.
Yep, I would, no doubt about that. The Kiesel was definitely cooler, right? But that guitar is not that guitar.
It's not.
There's definitely, like, crossover points, but that because that's what happens when you put a sound hole in a fucking Telecaster.
Yeah, that's what happens when you change the Telecaster shape to suit your own shape at any point.
Yeah.
You're working off what is a classic and almost home brand name design.
Yep.
People are going to associate that with where it came from, which is Fender.
Yeah. Yeah. But this also doesn't have a headstock on it.
It doesn't, you're right.
So that's quite a big difference.
It definitely is. It doesn't have a pickup selector or a pickup visible.
The pickup is kind of another key detail. On that Fender, you've got that very in-your-face
The
pickup
Fender's got an acoustic style classic normal bridge, as you would expect.
from an acoustic guitar.
Exactly, and this is...
A headless bridge.
Yeah.
I'll just describe it as that. Like it's a totally different guitar. But the thing that really riled me up when I saw someone really vocally, they described it as disgusting. It's disgusting that Fender would come in and steal from Kiesel like this. Right? What? Hang on a minute. Isn't Jeff Kiesel the guy that's getting really like hyped about the fact that he's launching like a see-through Strat this year? He's got, and it's cool. Again, like I'm not criticizing because he's not like taking issue with this. Don't talk about Fender stealing from people, right? Just don't do it. Because you know what? Even if they held their hands up and go, well, actually, yeah, we steal from everybody. Because you cunts all did it first. Fender are the fucking fathers of the solid body electric guitar. Simple as that.
Yep.
Right? And even if you don't take influence from the Telecaster itself, which is probably a little less popular than the Strat, right? Don't tell me that you don't have a guitar. Every guitar builder in the world, I mean, this obviously isn't true, but most guitar builders, let's go with most, will have some sort of Strat influenced guitar.
That is
a double cutaway. Even the fucking Ormsby, like that's so far removed from a Strat. But let's not pretend that isn't a descendant of that design.
Of course it's not. The descendants come from full body acoustic guitar, single cutaway, double cutaway, and then variations from there.
Yeah, and you can have a double cutaway that's like the Les Paul double cut. That isn't Strat or the
different
SG.
horn placements, etc. I get that. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. But again, they're just variances of full body, one cut, two cuts.
Yeah, we had Strat, and then eventually Super Strats became very popular, and now that's what people make. We literally call them Super Strats. So you don't look at that and go, "Oh, this is amazing. Yeah, I really like this." And then you look at this and go, "Oh my god, how could they steal the Kiesel design?" It's ludicrous. It's fucking ludicrous.
Well said.
Anyway, let's get this last bit done as fast as humanly possible because Mike needs to rush off. So I
Sorry,
have
Trips.
2 Total Guitar magazines that I'm going to blitz through.
It was Levi's choice this week of the two episodes. Not episodes. What the fuck am I trying to say?
Yeah.
Issues. The two issues this
I picked
week.
2 issues. And
I take great issue with the issues you've picked.
because they both have John 5 on the cover. So what do you think of John?
I think John's a fantastic player. I think he was completely underrated playing with Marilyn Manson, but at the same time, it obviously done a lot for him.
Yeah. Oh man, I had Golden Age of Grotesque on in the gym the other day, and
I'm sorry.
just nah, mate, nah. Even the singles like what's Mob Scene?
Tainted Love was on that one?
No.
No?
What is Mob Scene track 2?
I'm not a big Marilyn Manson fan.
Okay,
Was this what we were talking about John 5 last week, and basically he's got writing credits on every song?
Yeah.
Even one that Marilyn Manson doesn't have any writing credits on?
Yeah, he's got a track. Yeah, there's a song on that he literally has all the right credits on. So I've not listened to that album since it came out, I'll be honest with you, right? And it's a belter. It really is. Like, it's a huge sound. It's like a big, thick mix, which I really enjoyed hearing. It got me a little bit pumped. So, but yeah, I have a long history with John 5 and his playing. I don't think he's a particularly exceptional player. I don't think he's like a world-class technician. I would love to have him on the show. I would love to talk to him.
That would be cool.
But about music and sessions and, you know, what the things he's seen in the world. I'm never going to sit down with John 5 and go, right, John, let's talk technique.
No.
Because that's just not...
You're also not going to sit there and go, I think it's really cool that you've got a wee bit of a different Telecaster.
Yeah.
You want to pick his brain for his life experience.
Yes.
Not for basic shit.
So I got this magazine, you know, we talked about the reason we're reading these Total Guitar magazines. These were the first ones that I read.
Mm-hmm.
So this will have been a couple of months into buying Total Guitar magazine, and there was John 5. So I saw him, and in this particular track, it has this issue, it has John 5, and then later in the magazine, there's a transcription of his version of Sugarfoot Rag, which is a jazz standard, a country western swing
Okay.
jazz type. I say jazz. It's like right between the two. Like it's it's hillbilly jazz, if you like.
Western swing.
Yeah. And he does like a shred take on it, but it's still very much influenced by country music.
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting. And obviously he plays the Telecaster, and then when this issue came out, he talks more about Telecasters and country music. I found that really interesting. And so yeah, I'd listened to his album, and I thought it was really cool that someone was playing something. I was a metal kid at the time, but he was doing something different with it and trying to have a different flavour to things.
Yes, he's a genre bender.
Yeah, and then he talked about playing sessions, and that was it, mate. That was what shaped me to become the player I became. When he talked about being a versatile player and being able to get by in different scenarios and having an interest in different scenarios, that was what made me go, cool, well, maybe I should take this country thing a little bit more seriously. And I didn't take it hugely seriously at the time, but it was enough for me to go, when I had the opportunity to check out like Brent Mason's instructional video, it wasn't like, oh, I love that guy, I need to check that out because I love that guy. It was, got to take my medicine. You know, John said it's a good idea, so let's just do it. Let's absorb it. And if you went back in time and said to that Levi Clay, that young whippersnapper with his BC Rich Warlock, playing his Muse cover songs, if you said to him, look, kid, 15 years from now, when people go on Amazon and type in country guitar, you're going to be the only thing that comes up.
plug, and quite rightly.
Yeah. So go and buy my books. But like the idea of
number one Amazon bestsellers at launch, I believe.
Yeah.
Every one of them?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've all done really well. So yeah, plug.
Just a wee bit of marketing for you, bro.
I'll just pat myself on the back.
But the what's better than the books? Buying a Guitar Source t-shirt.
Yeah, that's actually true. the point is, finding a career in music, making a living in music is very, very hard to do. And I definitely wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for some of those little things that I took from John 5.
That's incredible.
I am definitely a John 5 fan. I'll tell you what, you have a skim through that. I will skim through this. And yeah, I mean, I've owned a John 5 telly. They're very cool, very heavy guitars.
That was a great guitar. It sung like fuck. It was great.
But John, of course, has done lots of other things. Like his solo albums, check them out. There's some good stuff in there, like Vertigo being the first one. You know, I say that. I haven't actually listened to any of his solo albums since Requiem, which was like 2008. So it's been like 11 years since I've actually really listened to any of John's stuff. But I certainly enjoyed it a lot when I was younger. But he's done other stuff. He's played with other people, KD Lang, and obviously he's with Rob Zombie now. And but he also was with David Lee Roth.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was with David Lee Roth.
That's some cool shit.
I mean, he's done a lot.
I'm not going to lie. When I read Total Guitar when I was younger, and as I read it now, I wish I had the interest to find all those little like tidbits of actual decent advice in them, but I'm just so overwhelmed with being sold to.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as in like just literally buying things, but like people selling bands, tuitional reviews being sold to right there. The latest guitars you can get, I mean, they're selling that, telling you like Parkers, Dan Electros, Steinbergers. It's just, I found it overwhelming. And to be honest, it made me switch off to pretty much everything in there that was to do with sales. The only things I was interested in were the articles with people that I liked, and the tabs that I wanted, and the backing tracks. Because the backing tracks, if I remember correctly, all credit where credit's due, were great.
Yeah, when they got them, done by Lick Library.
Oh, it makes sense.
That's how they were total accuracy at the time. That's what they were branded as. So,
there you go, a bit of heritage there. Remember we spoke about JJ Guitars, obviously, in some sort of vested interest in the company. I think that's every single magazine they've had a JJ Retro giveaway.
Yeah. Here's in the John 5 interview, like, I'm not going to read through the entire thing, but it's one of the quotes they go, Steve Vai says that it takes balls to be a true original, and I think that's what I was really reaching for with this. So he's talking about his debut album, Vertigo. And yeah, I again taking things from that, like Steve Vai sounds the way Steve Vai does. Don't copy Steve Vai. John 5 sounds the way John 5 does. Don't copy John 5.
That's it. You can take inspiration, but don't start just plagiarising.
But try and find your voice.
And you will do that by trying lots of different things, I think.
But the reason I pulled this particular issue out is because what you'll notice on the cover of this is John 5 is pictured with his ex-wife. They aren't together anymore as far as I'm aware. Aria Giovanni, the porn star, the porn actress.
Oh, that must make him rock and roll.
I mean, he is rock and roll as fuck.
He is.
On the one hand, he's rock and roll as fuck. On the other hand, he owns a Telecaster from almost every year of production since 51, the Snakehead.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
He has a fucking obscene collection of Telecasters. Don't you do it.
vintage guitars.
Don't you
Now,
do it.
Levi, tell us which vintage guitar you owned.
I will, because there's actually a picture of it in one of the issues, right? But it's not this particular one, because that one has a Floyd Rose
you
in it. It was that
shitebag.
shape. Yeah.
You shitebag.
But yeah, the whole point of reading these old guitar magazines was seeing how things have aged, seeing how we spoke about things then versus how we speak about things now. And I am often wrongly painted as being very, very right wing, which just isn't the case.
You're not.
But I know. But what we're noticing is an extreme, like, people call it SJW bullshit, but I don't think of it that way. Like, I'm very happy to belittle third wave feminism. Like, I'm fine doing that. But I am all for equality.
Of course.
I think that's very important. And I think talking down about the opposite sex, or just anyone in general, is not. It's not good for us as a society. We should be lifting each other up rather than dragging each other down.
Correct.
But of course, rock and roll has a long history of women. And if you swung by the TTM booth at NAMM, what you'll notice is, swinging back to the 80s, they've got booth babes there. And that's just not really a done thing anymore.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
Have you made that up?
No, that's... No.
They couldn't bring guitars, but they could bring booth babes.
Well, yeah, you can hire those, can't you? So...
Were TTM involved in that interface that was marketed towards women because it looked like a
we
makeup
kept meaning
pack-up?
to talk about that, and we never got around to it.
Did we not? I thought we
No,
mentioned
never
it.
got around
Shit.
to it.
TLDR, which is too long, didn't read for anyone who's on the internet that knows what the internet is.
Yeah.
There was an interface released 3-4 months ago, maybe,
Yeah.
and it was marketed towards women. And every female musician that I know or have on social media basically went, "What is this nonsense bullshit?" And not as a knee-jerk reaction, but because it was literally a piece of shit. It was just a shitty interface with mega money price tag, and it was meant to look like a fucking compact makeup mirror set, like different coloured palette for knobs for your volume and your headset. It's just, what a load of garbage.
Yeah.
Who's going to buy that, really? And I mean that in the most sincere form. What is wrong with these people?
Someone was at an MMA fight,
right?
For those that follow internet, dramas, the Andy Warski Tonkasaw fight that Tonkasaw didn't show up to because he pussied out, embarrassing. But it turns out that
you better hope he doesn't turn up here to fight you.
He's not going to fight anyone. That was his gimmick. It was anytime someone disagreed with him on the internet, I'll fucking kick your ass. Like, you name the time, you name the place, I'll fucking be there and I will kick the living shit out of you.
And
just any time it's ever happened. And then someone was finally like, "Oh, all right, let's do it." And then he responds with, "Yeah, cool. How's that going to? Where then? Name the place." And he was like, someone in the chat got involved, was like, "I can organise that. Let's do it." And then within a week, like, there was a proper MMA bout, like with an actual card of professional fighters that they were in the middle of. Yeah. And all he needed to do was provide his blood work and all his details.
For weight and all that.
And Borski like proper went into it, like he was training. He put 10 pounds of muscle on for this fight, right? He was really wanting to kick this guy's ass. And Tonka submitted like all of his identification, but then with his blood work and ID, the ID didn't match up with what he'd previously submitted. He literally didn't even turn up for the fight. Embarrassed. Anyway, the reason I mention this is, the old tradition of ring girls that come in between rounds and that. They had a ring guy at the fight.
Good.
Which upset a lot of people in the audience.
Because people are idiots.
But also, like, cool. Like, why not? Like, I actually don't think it's a good idea. Like, when you think of like darts that have taken away like the girls that would walk down to the guys on stage, and the same in Formula One. This was an opportunity for a way that those people were actually, women were making money, and it was a way to bring money into the sports because advertising, like people want to. So it has taken work away from women, and it bugs me when other women are like, "This work isn't fit for you. You shouldn't have to demean yourself." And they're like, "But I enjoy this job. I like this." So yeah, when I talk equality, I mean genuine. Like people should be free to do the things they want to do, kind of thing.
That's fair. I think that's a really good and reasoned way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's.
We've definitely talked about this on the podcast. Like,
yeah, no doubt.
Freedom. Like, I sound like a libertarian. Like, freedom. Everyone should have their personal freedoms. And my freedoms end when I'm interfering with your freedoms.
Absolutely. Don't fuck with my shit. I won't fuck with yours. Let me do my own stuff, and that's it.
Yeah. So there's an article in here, right? And it just in 2003, I would have been really young, so that I wouldn't have looked at this and gone. I know I would have skipped past it because I'm not fucking interested in this.
You didn't buy Total Guitar. You could have bought fucking
Nuts magazine
or Zoo, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it because you hadn't seen what the article is, but however.
Yeah. So the article here is the 20 sexiest rock chicks.
Pro tip and spoiler: not many of them are rock chicks.
Yeah.
And that is not me trying to be degrading towards them. That's just the gist of it.
It's just let's get some women together and put them in the magazine.
It's like saying 20 best Les Paul players and 5 of them don't play Les Pauls.
Yeah. The point is, like in 2003, this wasn't of interest to me because I'd be too young to
care.
Well, but even then, I was an angsty teenager at the time. So actually, sex was constantly on my mind.
As a Slipknot fan, no, it wasn't.
Very good, very good. Inside Michelle, I Wait and Bleed. We should have mentioned that. That was Jay.
That's a good one.
Inside Michelle, I Wait and Bleed.
Jay, see if you're not listening to this, you owe me a tenner. And I'm going to call you up for it in a week. You have 1 week to prepare.
Yeah. Oh, well, she's definitely not watching that. So, no. But it's a contract that you've entered into now.
Legally, it's a tacit agreement, but it's legally.
But yeah, point is, at the time, not so much. But now, this is the kind of thing that you look at and you go, that's not cool, is it?
Yeah.
And let's read through them. So we got
not
Natalie
even
like
it's not cool as in like you've missed the fad or that's not cool or it's not hip anymore. It's like it's not cool because it was demeaning shit.
Yeah, and like I'm all for edgy. Edgy's cool. I like edgy and I like offending people.
That's
but
a
this
sense of
isn't
humour.
that. This is demeaning.
Jim Jeffries is a good example of edgy.
Yeah.
His sense of humour is completely off the wall. But you can tell he's just saying things to add to his story and add to his points.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's continue.
Yeah. I mean, it just misses the mark in terms of entertainment for me. It's not appropriate for this magazine. It's like when we looked at the Goth quiz in the other one, and the number one reason why Goth is back in is because of the Columbine massacre.
Yes, nothing.
Like what?
That's not good. I mean, before we even start, on the corner of this page it says Electric Ladyland.
I know.
Oh, great! You've managed to wedge some music somehow in there when you're talking about sexualizing fucking.
I'd certainly not thought about this at the time, right? But now I'm older and wiser and more considerate. Like I totally feel bad for. I didn't know any female guitarists at the time, like living in a small town. But now I know a ton of female guitarists, and I totally understand how reading this as a young kid that would be really off-putting to them.
Well, I remember when I was younger. Sorry, again, we're being derailed. You know, the thing that kind of got me thinking of that was Daisy Rock guitars. Because I thought, oh, that's really good. They're trying to market those finishes that obviously not a lot of companies are doing towards young women who want to get into playing an instrument in rock music, whatever. And then I was like, but it's
why
not
do
as
young
if
women want to play guitars that look like hearts?
Exactly. Like, why is it that the finish should denote whether someone gets into what is a career path, a very good hobby, and a great skill? Yep. Why should it have to be that it panders as if they're not important or good or interested in actually taking it up when you're playing a Strat or like a...
Well, you know another guitar that went down that route, and we've talked about this one on the show. Well, we've certainly... Yeah, this is an iconic one, and it was originally marketed to that, the Hello Kitty Strat.
That's right, yeah.
That was that was supposed to be really appealing to women, but ultimately, I know loads of guys that own those because they think they're cool and funny. They're quirky, you know?
Well, that is probably Fender's...
equivalent.
Most popular Super Strat because it's single humbucker under the bridge. Keith's got one. Oh, genuinely, it's in bits, but he's got one.
So I'm just going to read through these. Natalie Imbruglia. I can't pronounce her surname. Never could. Never will.
I'm torn on that one.
But it's not like it's got the.
I didn't even fucking see that one coming.
It's got their profession, so she's an actress and a singer. But then it goes on to who she's dated.
And that's why she's rock and roll.
Yeah. Renee Zellweger. Apparently she dated Jack White.
Right, again, doesn't make her rock and roll.
Helena Christensen. She's a supermodel, apparently. Dated Billy Corgan.
All right, okay, so she's arm candid, and that's
Gwyneth
great.
Paltrow. She's Chris Martin's wife.
I take great issue with that because Chris Martin is not a rock star. He's not. He's nothing to do with rock. He is whiny, albeit talented, music writer.
Yeah. Mila Jovovich.
Right.
Alice from Resident Evil.
Yep, but what makes her rock and roll?
Oh, she dated John Frusciante.
Right, cool. So again, just arm candy.
Gwen Stefani.
Genuine, actual allowance into
She's
that
pretty
list.
rock and roll. I'll give her
Absolutely.
that. Savannah, the porn star. She dated Slash. So.
All right, okay, great.
Paris
Again,
Hilton.
oh,
She dated Derek Whibley.
no
Debbie
comment.
Harry. I mean, she's rock and roll.
Yeah, again, yep, definitely allowed up there. Not allowed. That makes it
Brody Doll.
Protodal again up there.
Yeah,
Under stripes.
she is rock and roll, but again, like, why she dated Josh Homme and Tim Armstrong? Like,
But she's also in the Distillers,
Yeah.
who are a rock and roll band of their own right.
exactly. Patty Boyd. Dated George Harrison, Eric
Again.
Clapton, Ron Wood. Yeah. She was traded, I believe, between George and Eric. Like there was an agreement. You can marry her. Courtney Love. Reasonably rock and roll.
Yes, for multiple reasons, but I mean, she's known for her own musical project as well, so that's fair. I think that's all right.
Vanessa Paradis.
Never heard her.
No idea. Heather Locklear.
I know the name.
Yeah, actress and model, but dated Tommy Lee, Richie Sambora. Oh, I'm not even going to pronounce that. Pamela Anderson, of course. Is she rock and roll?
Obviously. No.
I mean, she was in that film Barbed Wire.
And she
That's a pretty
definitely
rock and roll film, but also a dreadful film.
I mean, if you'd taken Tommy Lee's cock, you'd be rocking and rolling the floor as well, to be fair.
Aria Giovanni, engaged to John Five, porn star. Yeah, cool.
Again.
Drew Barrymore.
And they chose to take a picture of Aria Giovanni, not any one that was normal, but one of her with her arms crossed. Quite an artistic photo, but clearly where her genitals are exposed, and they've put a whoops-a-daisy sticker over the top. I mean, they couldn't have...
It'd be any less classy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Drew Barrymore. I love Drew Barrymore. She's a darling, isn't she? Not in terms of like, I've got a crush on her, but like, so she's currently in the Santa Clarita Diet.
I haven't watched any of that. Is it good?
Fantastic.
Good.
Absolutely fantastic. Winona Ryder as number 2, and then number 1, Carmen Electra. So,
and I called Carmen Electra, and Levi's like, that was a good guess. I'm like, no, I had the magazine. I remember this.
Yeah.
I remember being confused by it, but obviously being young and horny, was like, oh, yes, oh.
Which like totally makes sense. Like I get all of that. I get the appeal and who they were writing for, but that was why we wanted to do these old Total Guitar magazines, just to see how badly some things have aged.
You're right.
Because I know that there's some issues in like just down the road in the readers' questions. I made a point of it and stickered them where like some young girls write in. Not to complain about that, but to say, I don't know many female guitar players, and I really like playing guitar, and like I'm just looking for more inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And the responses along the lines of, we really believe that women are totally just as fine to play guitar as men, and here's a list of some great female guitar players that you should check out, and never give up. Like fuck off, you contributing to this bullshit.
Pat back condescending.
Yeah, Hooper Stank. Yeah. So what have you got there?
Well, the only thing that's really caught my eye is when we get into the albums. And we've obviously looked at the reviews, and so many of them are wrong. Essential listening, Metallica, Saint Anger. TG rating, 5 stars.
What do they say about it?
Who are they? You serious? No, please, you're joking. Not to put too fine a point on it, but if Metallica didn't exist, then neither would half of today's rock scene. Subjective, but probably true.
Yeah.
Any good? A lot's been happening in the Metallica camp recently. Rehab, kids, Napster, rehab, lineup changes.
Napster bad.
Bear good. Other fucking original fucking internet memes. Some good viral stuff. So I wonder there's a new album at all. Hammett and Hetfield prove there's still life in the old dogs though, grinding their way through 11 tracks of sweet, beautiful noise, perfect for that all-important interrogation you've got booked in the morning. Now that is obviously a subtle nod at the fact that Guantanamo Bay used Metallica's music as part of their extreme noise terror treatment and program trying to break people. That's not something to joke about, Total Guitar. That's not something to condone, Total Guitar. Innocent people being picked up under...
Well, we can't necessarily say innocent.
Okay, sorry.
Alleged criminals.
That's a good way to put it. People who had not
Brown
been...
people.
I mean, as horrible as that sounds, that is who was targeted.
Yeah.
You've got a surname that isn't Smith or Brown, ironically. Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? We're going to put it under the Patriot Act, so we don't actually have to do anything legally. We can just put you in this holding camp and do what we want to you. Brilliant, no bother. Oh, wait a minute, there's a lot of war crimes happening here. We won't report them for 10 years, and it'll still happen. Horrible place. Fucking horrible people too. Absolutely disgusting. And the fact that... I know I'm getting a bit fucking angered here, but... The fact that Total Guitar made that flippant comment when they obviously knew it was going on, Metallica sanctioned it, which was a fucking embarrassing thing. and that young people would read that and think that was cool. That is not a cool impression to leave on people.
Right, you sound triggered.
Maybe I am. And I'll take that. But that's some fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? That's such a negative, horrible way to look at the world.
Well, I don't necessarily see it that way myself, because I feel that you, like, if you wanted to satirize that situation, if you wanted to take issue with the situation, that's probably also what you would write. You wouldn't just like not mention it at all. Again, it depends on like your sense of like humor, how you would choose to satirize that.
Yeah. I don't see it as a sense of humor. I see it as some sort of subtle nod and gesture that when they did that, and people that don't know that won't know the connotation, but people that do, see what they done. Oh, great, they were responsible for war crimes in some way. Wait, no, not cool.
But you know what's even funnier than that? Mm-hmm. The rating they gave it.
I know. I'm going to continue reading. So, sorry. So we ended on perfect for that important interrogation you've got booked in the morning. And aside from James's obligatory Cowboys Round the Fire moment, tracks like Dirty Window, My World, and Invisible Kid reinforce any dwindling faith since Reload. No, they do fucking not.
Also, what Reload, there was the Garage Inc. album, which is covers. Mm-hmm. So, I don't count that. What they mean is since the last album.
Yeah.
There's no album between Reload and St. Anger, is there?
I don't think so. Yeah. And I don't think there's even anything notable on Reload, is there? No. I don't think so. In fact, is fucking Turn the Page not on that, or is that on Garage Inc?
Unforgiven 2 is on there.
Ugh!
Or is that on Load?
Oh, who cares? They should have left it at Unforgiven 1 and that'd be the end of it.
What's their why by?
Oh, no, so we must hear first.
Oh, sorry.
Must hear. My World has the catchiest riff by far, coming all over Zakk Wylde. Or coming over all Zakk Wylde. Oh, I was like, that's getting a bit fucking graphic there. But on the whole album, the drums sound huge. What version did you hear?
I know.
Sounds like someone told Lars he's played like Meg White all these years.
Yeah, I know.
You should definitely shit in that other female musician because she's in a very popular band.
Yeah.
Why by? Because there really is nothing better guitar-wise than Metallica on Fyre.
No mention of the fact there's no guitar solos on the album.
And that the riffs are all dog shit and they use a completely different tuning and that the drums are a completely different sound to any other album they've ever done. Why would you present a Metallica album like this sounds exactly like all the Metallica albums you've ever heard when it's nothing like any Metallica album that's ever been done?
Yeah, or since.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah, you mentioned Zakk Wylde in there. There's a great interview with Zakk Wylde in that magazine, actually, where
the one
he drops the F-bomb. He
Keeping
says fuck
real metal alive
so many times in that interview. It's almost a parody of himself. I enjoyed that. Let me just blitz off this John 5 Vertigo review for anyone who hasn't heard it. So who is he? Just to compare to that, right? So having strained the leash with Marilyn Manson, John Lowry, also known as John 5, breaks free with his debut solo album, and yeah, that's solo as an instrumental. Any good? It's sick in both senses of the word. Unapologetic showcase for his everything but the kitchen sink style of guitar playing. Vertigo careens from dark industrial rock to demented metal bluegrass via fierce 80s shred and old style waltzes. It's funny 1 minute and fuck you bitch the next. It's both a perfect example of what can go wrong when guitarists are left to their own devices, the distinct lack of a song, for instance, or the shite album cover, but also of what can go right. It's entertaining, surprising, and throws down a gauntlet. Think you're better? Let's fucking hear it then. Must hear, Dead Man's Dream, written as a tribute to the late TG writer Dennis Kirtley, has all the drama and technique you could wish for, while the country tracks provided light relief. Track 4 on your TG CD, Zug Island Convict, is a good tune. I like that tune. Meanwhile, is a fine taster of the kind of carnage you can expect. Why buy? It's shred for the naughties. Wired, weird, and wonderful.
That was
4 out of
Scott
5.
Rowley?
Yeah.
Scott Rowley seems to write quite good reviews. Dave Partridge was the guy that wrote the one for St. Anger, which, even comparing it to another one that he's written for a different band in this same magazine, it's like, was he told to write that? Because what he's wrote, right, reviewing Deftones, self-titled Deftones. Who are they? The Sacramento-based crew were one of the early pioneers of new metal, but have continued on a different path, preferring a kind of Tool-esque vibe, made apparent on their last release, White Pony. Chug happy riffmeister Steph Carpenter on guitar. Any good? It's been one of the most anticipated albums of the year. Not bad considering Deftones are still being touted as the best underground band around. Top 20 hit Minerva is typical Deftones fare, reminiscent of earlier hits like Be Quiet and Drive. Needles and Pins and Bloody Cape harken back to their Adrenaline days, while experimental Lucky You continues where White Pony left off. Must hear, opener Hexagram gives that much needed quick fix you've been itching for since Back to School burned up by the MTV charts. Why buy? Because they've managed to draw on their back catalogue and deliver a generous mix of flavours which sounds so familiar yet new and refreshing at the same time. 4 out of 5 stars. How can you review the Deftones album so well and totally miss the mark with St. Anger?
I should point out I gave the new Deftones album a spin. New, it's a couple of years old now. Nah, couldn't do it. Got 3 or 4 songs in and was like, nah, I'm going to put something else on.
I think they let Chino write too much.
Yep. And lastly, just as a closing thought, I know there's a review in there of the Boss ME50. Of course, they gave it 5 stars.
5 of 5, straight out of the box.
But there's also a Godin Freeway Classic, and I've always been a fan of the Godin stuff.
Great guitars.
So they gave it 5 stars. But the only issue I have is that it's £450. It's cheap as chips. And this, to me, is Godin. When I first found Godin, they made quite affordable guitars, whereas now they make some really expensive guitars.
Yep. Canadian maple, still rock solid, really well made, played great, sounded great. And then, you're right, like up into the weird triple pickup, MIDI acoustic bridge piezo, normal pickup systems, the LGX or something it's called. Here's something that's just caught my eye. Do you remember the Buzz Feet and tuning system?
Yep.
And Washburn used to tout it all the time. It was essentially, the nut was cut different and the first few frets might have had a slight variance on them.
No. Dreadful.
No?
Don't bother.
No, that's what I thought you'd say no, as in that wasn't how it was, but that definitely is. But no. No.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Tom Morello in there again, obviously making money. Not a capitalist though.
The fucking PC Rich body art series.
Oh, there we go, boys. Look at that. A bare arse on your guitar. So you can be reminded that women are objects just like guitars.
Yeah. It's double funny because I remember, what, 250? Is that right?
299.
299.
Is that how much you paid 250 for yours?
They were a monthly release, like a collector's thing. And I remember back then as a kid thinking, wow, so there's probably people out there that can afford to buy every single one of these each month. Now I look at it, I'm like, who would? And also, of course there are people that can afford to buy them. They're £300 pieces of shit.
Exactly that. Fucking dog shit.
Want to wrap up?
Shit. Let's do it.
So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Please do head on over to Teespring and grab yourself a Guitar Souls t-shirt. Tell your friends all about us. Tell your enemies about us.
This guy, the salesman.
Share us on Spotify. Share us on all of the places that you
Facebook,
that you
Twitter,
Instagram,
Spotify. Yeah. Can you share on Spotify? I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
SoundCloud,
wherever you listen. YouTube.
Like, comment, subscribe. Call us wankers.
Give us some misheard lyrics.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Or misunderstood lyrics in my case.
I would love if we had a hate mail section and we could do what Maddox used to do.
Mate, I would read hate mail all day long. I've
Absolutely.
been planning to do one on my channel and have other people read them out, but like I get a lot, but I never write down the good comments, and then I need to and it's a dangerous one because when you do a hate mail section, people deliberately write you hate mail with the hopes of being featured in your hate mail thing. So you want it to be genuine hate mail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I get my fair share of. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. And until next time, Mike.
Bye, fuckers.
Oh, you went for the single finger. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just for a change.
Mixing it up.
You weren't supposed to notice. I wanted people to notice. Ruined it. Ruined the episode.
Laters.
Peace.